What is the best way to find a balance between life and work? It's a very good question. A lot of people struggle with this. Well, I'm going to answer it in a larger sense the answer will cover this as well as other parts of life. The key here to your question and to the other parts as well is to start your day with meditation and to bring it all to the altar of God. I know when I was in my spiritual training decades ago, I was one of those people who I still have, a list a mile long, the to-do list. And what's different now than then, there's still a list a mile long, but now the list doesn't own me or run me or cause stress in my life. I don't have that. But a very simple tool one of my mentors taught me is what facilitated that transition. And that was a lot of people, not just with the balance between life and work, but just with all of it, the whole kit and caboodle. People often will look at their list or think of if they're not looking at a physical list, they'll constantly dwell on all that has to get done or all that they have to do or all that's being asked of them, whether it's employment or home or family or within themselves, etc. And when people find themselves caught looking at the totality, what very naturally and pretty much always happens is what ensues is a feeling of overwhelm. And then with the overwhelm comes the feeling of the inability to do it all, and then what comes with that is frustration, and then what comes with that is depression. And sometimes anger and mood swings and insomnia. It just keeps going. And then to quell those, then we have numbing effects of either sex or drugs or whatever, travel, shopping. It just becomes a big downward spiral. And so to nip all that in the bud, or to cut to the chase, one of my mentors gave me this tool that was just amazing. I know it sounds so ridiculously easy, but it is. Sitting in meditation in the morning and just to bring that list to the altar of God and in your heart of hearts, whatever your divining tools and attunement tools are, whether it's talking to your guru in your heart, your ascended master or saint or angel guide, to God directly, to whatever it is, whatever your tools are. Whether it could be your tarot, your plumb bob, your medallion, your pendulum, your I Ching, your Ouija board, whatever your tools are. And of course, I put guru at the top of the list. You're listening to your own heart, your I am presence, etc. Bring that list into your meditation and ask to be shown the most important 5 or 6 items that can fit within that given day. Not that can fit, that are being asked for on that day, rather than the totality of the list. What is God asking of me for today? And stop that at a small number. Because one of the key things also that contributes to that downward spiral is, and let me qualify that. Even very responsible and very productive people can get caught in this. Because when you still are holding the whole list, or all I have to do, even productive and successful people, and if they're cranking out things throughout the day, they're still looking in with the perspective of all that there was to do, and they can still come up with the feeling of failure, even though they achieved a great deal that day. So you don't want to be looking at the whole list. There are times and places for that, to have little peaks, to recalibrate, to reprioritize. But that should be fleeting moments. But in each and every day, you sit at the altar of God in your meditation, and then you divine within yourself through the many and various means you have, or few, whichever it is. And then you come up with that list. That way it's laid out for you. And then you begin going about it. And they get prioritized as well. So your morning meditation brings it to the altar. You reduce it to a couple of things. You get those in order as being shown to you, however that comes to you. And then you do that. And then what happens, and this is what forwards productivity as well and success, is the building upon small achievements. When people feel the satisfaction and the victory in small achievements, it creates momentum, it creates inspiration, it creates satisfaction, it creates fulfillment, gets those endorphins going, gets moods elevated, and then that creates greater productivity and it creates greater success. Can you see how you have an upward spiral and a downward spiral, and yet you have the same person, the same tasks, the same lists? It's an issue of perspective and how you handle it and produce. And I used to be, decades ago, one of the ones, I wouldn't say I wallowed in depression, but I often felt very frustrated. I just can't get it done, I can't get it done, and it would bother me. Not to the point where it ruined my day, but to the point where it was unsettling and uncomfortable. And so that is not only the way to find balance between life and work, but the way to find balance, period. Now, within the context of what I just said, some of you who know my teachings well enough will notice that one of my core teachings was included in that. It was an extrapolation on one of my core teachings, which is make every act, make every choice an act of supplication to God. This relieves you of so much burden, so much responsibility, so much unnecessary stress and strife that belongs in no human's mind or body or aura. And it's 100% foolproof. You make every choice, every opportunity, every moment, every act, every potential an act of supplication to God, meaning, I lay this before you, thy will be done. What are you asking of me? And then you become just more like the courier delivering a package. You know, a DHL or Federal Express courier, their lives are not supposed to be all affected by what's inside the envelope. You're just a courier. You just take it from point A to point B. The whole world that's going on in that, someone's divorce, someone's child custody, a lawsuit, a foreclosure, it's just a manila envelope. So there's the whole world that's in there does not affect the courier. So you become that detached, innocent, objective courier who's not invested in what it is. You're just laying it before, and show me God, Guru, Divine Self, Archangel Michael, whomever it is. And then you implement. Stress is gone, worry's gone, burden's gone, responsibility's gone. You simply do your task to the best of your ability. And now some people may think it's nitpicky, some people may think it's micromanagement, minutia, whatever your ego wants to call it. It is nothing but liberating and freeing and exhilarating to live in that space. And I take it into every aspect of my life. I take it into food, restaurants, going out to grab a bite, going to a movie, make it an act of supplication. What movie does God want to imprint on this consciousness, on these eyes and this brain and this heart that does not belong to me in the first place? It's property of God. So what movie does God want to imprint on this consciousness tonight? Not what do I want to see or what do I feel like. So now again, that is subject to a little bit of flexibility, because if you're going with friends, then there's a bit of a mix there as well. But that can be everything is a gift. There might be lessons in detachment and surrender for someone who's super controlling. Not being the one who has to fight for the movie selection is a good thing for you. So are you violating God? No, because in that particular moment, maybe the gift for you is to not be so pushy and controlling and always getting your way, or always being the one who picks the restaurant, picks the movie. And if you know you're like that, then you be proactive and say whatever you want. I'll see whatever you want tonight. So people, you can get in the game here and be proactive about it. People know what their virtues are and what their weaknesses are, what their faults are, what their shortcomings are. You can be proactive in refining them. So anyway, that's the answer to your question, is that morning meditation, bring that list, prioritize in your meditation, but the larger answer is make everything an act of supplication to God. So that'll, of course, apply to balance between life and work. And you have to also, I'll add the second part, becoming more and more selfless is a key ingredient here, because selfish wants and pursuits and desires affect that balance as well. When you become more selfless, you become more tolerant and thinking of others and compassionate toward others and inclusive of others. When people are more self-obsessed and self-focused and selfish, in the empirical sense of the word, selfish about themselves all the time, then they lose connection to other human beings. So becoming more selfless also facilitates that process. So let me refine my answer. Number one, morning meditation, make everything an act of supplication. Number two, become more and more selfless. Put those two together, you will have great balance between life and work and in other areas of your life as well.